I remember a time in my business where it seemed like everything should have been working, where I was consistently producing content. I was putting out videos, a podcast, a newsletter. I was writing emails, and I was active on Instagram stories. And while a lot of this got engagement, it was not doing the two very things that I needed it to do, which were getting calls booked on the calendar and those calls converting to sales. If you're new to the channel, my name is Jeff Augustinelli. I am a guide, a storyteller, and a filmmaker. And in this short video, what I want to do is share with you a major distinction that a coach of mine shared with me a few years ago that helped me see the nature of my coaching business in a completely different way. Now, if you are a content creator and a coach, most likely you've fallen into a few traps that are preventing you from doing the right activity in your business that could get you to the next level. Most likely you're creating content and of the belief that if you just create more content, then people will reach out to you. Now, while this is the goal of content, is to have more inbound, it's not always the case, especially if you're under the 100K mark and you're still just getting your legs underneath yourself as a business. There's one very critical thing that you could start to do that is more productive than just producing more content. And I remember when my coach shared this piece of information with me, and he said, "Hey, Jeff, you are in the business of scheduling and conducting conversations." And I remember when he shared this, I had one of those aha moments where it seemed like everything that I was doing up until that point was just busy work. Because I noticed that if I was to just focus on this one thing of having more quality conversations, it is the thing that happens before a sale. If you look at your coaching business and however many years you've been in business, if you look at every sale you've had that's been a high ticket sale, chances are that sale came from a conversation with a person. But at the same time, we get into this trap of living behind the screen, of just shooting more content, of just creating more posts, of being more active in stories, of just extending more broadcasted invitations. And we forget the power of focusing on one before we focus on many. And now the nature of a conversation is simple. It doesn't always have to be some type of an aggressive sales conversation. In fact, it shouldn't be an aggressive sales conversation. Just getting into the mode of generating more conversations will flip the lens from feeling as if you just need to put out more content and just be more visible and just be more trustworthy and just build more credibility to being human, to extending the outreach, to having the conversation with one person and not only learning from that interaction, but extending genuine appreciation instead of just trying to make a sale. Here's what this looks like on a tactical level. And it's not just with your social media, it's in person and it's also with your contacts. And I realize that sometimes this could sound like it's fishing for a sale or like trying to drum up business. And realize this, not every single action has a direct result. And while this most likely will generate more sales for you, it's going to help you to get over some sticking points about initiating conversations that you may have a hang up about. Because I know when I've shared this with clients, there's a good bit of resistance to initiating these conversations. And if there's not resistance on the front end, then once they start the conversations, they feel a little bit fumbly. And this is a clear sign that you've dehumanized the process of your marketing, and it's time to bring some of those elements back. So some of the few places that you can look at starting conversations are: one, when people follow you, like your content, or comment, reach out to them with a simple message of appreciation. Now, this may seem like an inconsequential thing. Like, what's it going to do to just send a thank you or I appreciate you engaging with the last post? Curious, what about it stood out for you? Asking questions and expressing appreciation open doorways. It's an extension of something instead of just continuing to put out content and hoping that people reach out to you. You're going on the offense. You're taking action that you can take instead of waiting for people to come to you. And now the next place you can look at is if you were to just scroll through your contact list and your past clients, you will have enough people to send messages to and initiate conversations probably then you're social at this point. So if you look back at past clients, you can do a past client check-in and just see, hey, how's it going with this X, Y, and Z thing that we worked on before? I'm curious, how are you? And just open the conversation and follow what feels like the next best step. It doesn't always have to be this like contrived script to try and move somebody in the direction of a sale, as much as it does just having a genuine conversation and leading it where it needs to go. And if it's a non-starter, if it doesn't go anywhere, letting that be okay as well. Same thing with your contact list. I would bet money that if you scroll through your contacts, you would see a number of people who you could support with your service. And there's no reason why you shouldn't reach out to them and see if that's something they'd be interested in. Of course, you're going to want to have some type of a small talk leading up to it. But at the end of the day, having a conversation with somebody that you know from some part of your life, letting them know what you're up to and seeing if they would be a candidate for what you're into, for what your service is another way to initiate a conversation that's not only overlooked, but I would say even frowned upon. And then last but definitely not least is being in person with people more. There are plenty, especially if you're in a major city, right? I'm in Austin, Texas, and I cannot tell you the number of times I've been in just a casual conversation out and about, and that conversation leads to a client. And it's almost always the person asking me what I do and being in of the confidence where I can deliver with certainty, here's what I do, here's how I help them in a conversational way, always leads to either more curiosity on their part or somebody that they know who could also use my support. Even to this day in my business, this is a practice that I still do. There's still plenty of days where I am investing time to extend a simple message to people who are engaging with my posts. Now, it's interesting too, because if you look at this on the in-person level, right? Imagine you were to share something that you share in a video in person, and somebody came up to you and said, I really love what you just shared. Not engaging with somebody in a DM or having a conversation with them would be the akin to in person just staring at them after they say, I really love what you just shared, as if they said nothing. So if this is a hang up for you, if you're like, why would I send messages? Why would I spend time with it? My invitation to you is to give this a shot. Like, what have you got to lose to just start sending messages to people and initiating conversations? Like, what if that conversation ended in a sale at 4K or 5K or 10K? Would it be worth the time invested in initiating those conversations? We got a bit of a shorter video this week. If you did like this video, be sure to hit the like button. And if you are yet to subscribe to the channel, hit the subscribe button as well. And I'm curious to hear from you. Leave me a note in the comments. Let me know, is this something that you currently do in your business? And if not, is it something that you are going to put into practice? Until next time, I'll see you soon.